What's up, guys? Rachel Lindsay here, and I am teaming up with your favorite Ringer podcasters to deliver the Bravo drama and news that you've been craving on Morally Corrupt. It's the show about all things Bravo, from the Housewives to Summer House and everything in between. We'll be mentioning it all every week. Check it out on Spotify and theringer.com.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From the snacks you choose to the settings on your TV, you personalize every aspect of your viewing experience because it's better that way. That's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer availability and eligibility may vary. This episode is brought to you by Anytime Fitness. We may talk a whole lot about sports, but when it comes to keeping fit ourselves, there's definitely room for improvement. I hit this point early July. I was just like, I am not in good enough shape. I started trying to walk at least 15,000 steps a day or hiking or just anything to keep my legs moving. Now it's the end of 2023. I feel great. I had a physical 3 weeks ago and the guy was like, you're doing great. You're doing better than you were 3 years ago. I felt great. Whatever your goals are, progress is possible thanks to Anytime Fitness. Get a personalized plan and support from an expert coach anytime, anywhere. Visit anytimefitness.com to try Anytime Fitness for free. Start to train for your life. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply. See website for details. All right, it's a special edition of the Rewatchables. My name is Bill Simmons. I'm here with Chris Ryan and Sean Fennessey. A couple weeks ago, we asked the listeners to send us suggestions because we're headed toward 250 episodes on this feed and decided, you know what, you got to keep it fresh. Sometimes you got to, put on some lingerie for your husband. Sometimes you got to get a nice, freshly shorn haircut for your wife. It's got to keep people on their toes, Maybe.
Do you think a lot of wives are like, when will my husband be freshly shorn? That's what really stirs my ashes. Yeah,
that's
okay.
what I'm hearing. So we're trying to keep it fresh. So the listeners obliged. They sent us hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of great emails, fun emails. Enjoyed going through them. I went through them. Producer Craig went through them. And a recurring theme was that people just like this podcast. So it was nice to hear from everybody. We really appreciate it. I tried to separate these into a bunch of different categories. I've kind of decided on mostly what we're going to add, and maybe we can talk about that at the tail end. But I wanted to just rip through this, guys. And I separated it in quadrants, and we could just kind of go. This first section is called Rapid Fire.
Okay.
Matthew Wood suggests the Carl Van Loon AT&T Award for the actor who most phoned in their performance, named after De Niro's character from Limitless. Didn't make the cut, but strong suggestion. Greg Todd wanted the Judith Myers Award for the character most likely to be killed first if this were a horror movie.
Oh, I like that.
That did get my wheels turning a little bit. I tried to. I went.
Do you want
through
us to throw out some examples here? Like, do you have some that you're thinking of?
Well, I don't think this works because I don't think you could do it for enough movies, but I think it's a back pocket every once in a while. If it's the right movie, we could maybe break out the Judith Meyer. So I'm just posting that aside.
I really like that one.
I like that one and applying it to like the most non-horror movies. Though.
Yeah, like Lieutenant Weinberg in A Few Good Men. He'd be the first to go.
I was literally going to say that.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, I'll put it in bold. Brendan K. wanted the award for the character most likely to have a podcast, and what would that podcast be about? And he listed as an example, Elliot from E.T. having a Joe Rogan type podcast. I don't know how he made that association, but I love it. What would Elliot be doing right now?
He'd probably be playing Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Like he would be, like, I think he would just need to immerse himself in a virtual reality because his reality was too intense.
Yeah, maybe he's in Silicon Valley. He's like a computer programmer, kind of grizzled. He's on Reddit, conspiracy Reddit a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like transforming into like a crypto grifter. He's just pushing NFTs. He's like, I have ET's, the only shirt that ET ever touched. And he's trying to turn that into an NFT.
So you think he's running for mayor of Miami?
Definitely. Yeah.
Do you think he knows Harel Bob or no?
Yeah, they started a cryptocurrency together, right? E.T. coin?
This one doesn't totally work, but I like it. Only because we weed this in anyway, but Josh Stuckey suggests the Don Simpson cocaine is a hell of a drug category for movies from the cocaine era who have inexplicable scenes or plots that can only be explained by cocaine.
When does the cocaine era end?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like cocaine is such a theme in any movie we do from 77 to 86. I don't think that needs a category. Marakita suggests one in honor of Mallory Rubin, which should instantly make you fearful. Would this movie be better with a sex scene? And is there enough on-screen horniness?
Yeah.
She want to call this the Mallory Rubin Award. I don't want to boost Mal's ego and give her an award.
I immediately think Glengarry Glen Ross when I'm thinking this.
For a sex scene?
Yeah.
It's funny. My mind went to E.T.
My mind went to Rounders.
Interesting.
Well, you've long.
Yeah, that was the movie that needed it the most.
Yeah.
It was an R-rated movie anyway. I don't think this works, but I like the idea from Max M. The I wish I was there in person category, which would mostly be for sports movies. But I feel like we would say that in the pod anyway, but then it got me thinking non-sports movies, what would we want to be there for? Like, Chris, what Heat scene would you want to be there? BJ's and Alvarado at 2 a.m.? What would
I think BJ's and Alvarado. I would also for instance, I would love to be at a really safe distance from the Death Star blowing up.
Yes.
Just outside the blast radius, but on a nice recreation deck, checking that out.
Sean, you're in the diner in Pulp Fiction with Honey Bunny and Tim Roth.
Yeah, maybe with my bad motherfucker wallet. What about on a separate boat within eyes of Quint getting eaten alive? You know what I mean?
Interesting.
I want to see Jaws up close and personal, but safely.
But you're just sitting there eating saltwater taffy instead of helping.
Yeah, I'm in a helicopter, and it's really close to the surface.
Taylor Wetzker wanted us to have the under 40 test. Does this film feel so old that it's not even being carded when it walks into a bar? Inventive. I don't know how we squeeze it in. This one from Jimmy O, though. The Teddy KGB, he beat me straight up award given to the actor/actress who's doing their own thing in the movie, regardless of whether or not it vibes with the rest of the film. He mentions Teddy KGB, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Along Came Polly, Gary Oldman, and True Romance. This feels like the 2.0 version of Judd Nelson.
Yeah, this is a variation. I think that we've tried to get Judd Nelson off the ground. We had some seed investment, but it never really took off.
Yeah, and I maybe Teddy KGB is it. So I'm bolding that one. This one isn't going to make the podcast, but it just made me laugh. Jeff C. wants us to have the Alex Kintner Memorial Award for the best scene in a movie that contains no dialogue, and he recommends Alex Kintner getting swallowed by the shark and the camera panning in on Sheriff Brody. So basically a no sound scene. I just like that he went on IMDb and looked up Alex's last name, Alex Kintner, and really committed to the
Kintner
bit.
boy.
This one from Brian L, just to make Sean uncomfortable. The Jamie Sheridan Premature Ejaculator Award for most cringeworthy moment or performance.
Oh boy, here we go.
The Jamie? Frank H wants the Dr. Loomis Unintentionally Hilarious Award and says, it's hard to watch any Halloween movie without laughing at how much nobody believes Dr. Loomis. He has a gun. He's worked with the person. His overacting is spectacular. I have a better use of unintentional comedy that I think we can get into. Speaking of comedy, a bunch of Heat emails. You're not going to believe this, considering how many podcasts have we done about Heat?
3 Heat.
Yeah. You guys did Heat?
Yeah, we did Heat. Michael B wants 6 degrees of Heat. Pick the main character of the movie being reviewed or a supporting character if it's too easy, and try to get them in a movie with a random member of Macaulay's crew within 6 steps. Could be pretty fun.
I think Sizemore takes care of a lot of this, though. Yeah.
I was trying to think E.T. I feel like we could get Keys into Heat within 4 moves.
Peter Coyote. What else has he been in besides E.T., aside from narrating those Ken Burns documentaries?
What's Keys doing 10 years later? He's probably robbing banks, right? Or is at least thinking about it?
You think he's gone from discovering extraterrestrial life to robbing banks?
I think he's gone dark. I think he flew too close to the sun, and now he's in Macaulay's back pocket. Best quote. A lot of people want a best quote to come back. And Daniel from Perth suggested having a book about metals award for the belatedly best quote. He says, for first viewing, it's just another line. 40th viewing, it's spectacular. And he mentions other Book About Metal possibilities. Every Buffalo Bill moment in Silence of the Lambs. The International Immobile in Godfather Part 3.
That's a great one.
And Tom Cruise attempted to be human in any movie. This is close. I guess the concept would be belatedly fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's for the movies that we've really, really, really watched like 100 times. And then it's like the difference between you cut these guys loose to I want the truth. It's like on the 40th watch of A Few Good Men, you almost get more excited about you cut these guys loose. You know,
Right.
like you start to get into like different lines.
I was trying to think for Departed, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Baldwin, I don't feel like he jumped out on the first time like he does in like the 39th. Every moment he has, like the driving range scene. That could be like a Book About Metals. I don't know. There's something here. I think we should workshop this.
Yeah, I was thinking also about the, I treat feds like I treat mushrooms, feed them shit,
Right.
keep them in the dark. Like that, when the first time I saw it, I was like, it's pretty good. And now I use that line and replace mushrooms with anything. I do like CR. I say like, I treat CR.
Sean Hayes wanted, this is really strong. And I think we should try to figure this out. Maybe it's not every pod, but he wants an award called The Next Day. And says,
This is an incredible idea.
You've done 3 podcasts about Heat and have never discussed that Al Pacino's character is very likely suspended the next day. De Niro's now killed Waingro and several cops, and Al let him get away from the precious metals depository. There should be a category of the team riffing on what happens after. The Next Day works in a lot of different ways, right? There's like an Andy and Red version. What happens just the next day? They're in Zihuatanejo after the hug. What do they do for the next 12 hours?
This is a brilliant category idea.
Yeah.
I feel like some of the most creative conversations we've ever had on the show are like, what is the sequel to this? Like, what is the plot of the Netflix series? And this is a way to do that discreetly, like right away. And invariably, most of the time, it will be not that interesting. So we'll have to come up with some interesting shit to happen.
Well, that's what I think the future of this pod is. We take these categories and there's the staples that are probably like 2/3. And then I think the other ones kind of move in and out depending on the movie. I think
that's Heat culture. We're always finding new guys to come in off the bench.
You never know when Max Strus might be able to come in and hit a 3.
Next man up. Call me Gabe Vincent.
E.T. the next day, what happens? Does he go to school the next day?
Well, I think there's something funny about no one believing anybody. Like I like the idea of him becoming a conspiracy theorist because he had this experience, but no, the government won't acknowledge it, obviously.
Yeah.
Only 5 kids in the neighborhood really saw what happened. Keys is trying to nail his mom. So like he's trying to keep everything under wraps.
Keys is over for a pizza the next day.
Yeah.
I think they're all arrested. I think they let extraterrestrial life, proof of intelligent life off of Earth escape. Those guys are all redacted.
Daniel G had a similar idea. He said, what's next for Andy? He's a 7-foot tall convicted felon. There's no way he can blend in at a beach in Mexico for too long. Same for Dominic, Charlene, and Chris. Do they ever reunite? Does Dr. Kimball remarry? There's something here. I like The Next Day.
Dr. Kimball remarries very quickly.
You would think.
Oh, yeah. A doctor? A single doctor?
This next category we're adding. Multiple people suggested it, including Ryan Sally, who wanted the Stephen A. Smith Hottest Take Award. Multiple people seem to think we should just have a hot take in the movie along the lines of Kay Corleone is a terrible character, which isn't even a hot take because she was. But Alexander Smith describes
these are just your takes then.
Yeah, who is responsible for the
takes? You guys have had hot takes. Here's Alexander Smith. He said, for instance, in Signs, a movie that I think I've seen once. I didn't even know what he was talking about, but I love this email. Merrill is a baseball player who is most definitely a 3 true outcomes player. In the movie, he said he didn't make it to the bigs due to his strikeouts, but the movie came out in 2002. Moneyball was published in 2003. If the aliens had invaded 5 years later, Merrill is in the bigs doing his best Adam Dunn impersonation and going for 40 homers with his 200 batting average. Mel Gibson, all his kids are dead. Best hot take, great category. So, I don't know. I think maybe one of us has to give a hot take. Maybe it's not 3. It's like whoever feels like they have the best hot take, we just kind of go. Or whoever else is on if it's not.
I think that's good. That should be like at the end of an episode, though.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
This is like Elliot, by being so selfish, Elliot caused the slowdown of scientific discovery by 50 years.
Yes. That was sort of your take on the last one.
Yeah, that was good. A lot of basketball awards.
Wait, are we doing signs?
I don't know. I haven't seen it in 20 years.
It's pretty good.
A lot of basketball awards, a lot of basketball disparagement, Chris, including people who are either currently on your team or used to be on your team.
What a surprise.
Just a variety of James Harden awards suggested, including Taylor Wetzker. The James Harden Award, awarded to the person least excited, interested in being part of the movie. Or Bill Stacy, the actor who did a money grab and had no interest in being there. Just a slew of those. So congrats on the James Harden extension when it happens, Chris.
Were these emails only called from Boston? Like, was there some sort of regional?
Yeah, can we geotag these?
These were from all over Australia.
Oh yeah, Perth for sure.
Scott Jackson wanted the Chris Paul Award for the actor who had the worst performance in the third act of the movie, but only do it when Marcillo's on the podcast. I was trying to think what actor completely fell apart in the third part of the movie. We haven't done single white female yet, but I feel like Jennifer Jason Leigh was like that.
But to make it more accurately Chris Paul, then they have to have like a weird excuse for it. You know, like a late developing quad injury is revealed. So like it would have to be Jennifer Jason Leigh is just like, I actually had mono for the entire end of the shoot for single white female.
Yeah, I got in a car accident on the set and my neck was out of whack. Kirk Melhorn wants the Ben Simmons Award for the actor, actress, or director who refused to utilize a specific skill set or ability and it negatively affected the movie, like Ben Simmons not shooting. It felt like a shoehorn Ben Simmons attack, but I'm here for it. I enjoyed it. And then a lot of Russell Westbrook. Mostly people, the same kind of thing, like the Russell Westbrook Award for if you cut this scene out or this character out, the movie's better. I don't really want to have Russell Westbrook in the Rewatchables, so I'm vetoing it. So a couple of people wanted life lessons because the first Heat podcast we ever did,
we did
was centered on the lessons from Heat.
Didn't we do that for Casino too?
We did, and now I'm thinking, not a bad thing for near the end. Is there a life lesson from this movie? We all have to think of one and just go around.
Yeah,
we think, Sean.
Life lesson from ET is if you discover an alien. Don't show them to your siblings or your mom. You know, just keep them tucked away.
Hoard the alien.
The alien. Yeah.
Couple revamp winner. People want the best quote back, so I guess we're gonna have to bring that back.
Well, it shows up usually in what's aged the best.
What happened? Why did it get phased? Well, I feel like one day I showed up, I was on the show and I was like, when are we doing best quote? And then it just stopped.
I remember, I blame Mallory. No, I think we did once.
I blame you. You started doing best quote in What's Aged the Best. You started being like, what's aged the best? And then you would do like 5 lines from the movie and I'd be like, those are all the best quotes.
Mallory was on once and it was best quote and she did like 38 quotes. And I was like, I got to get rid of this category. We just added a half hour to the podcast. But, people had different names for it, and I think the best one was from Scott, who thinks we should call it The Action is the Juice Best Quote Award. Or we just call it the Best Quote Award. People also think recasting couch should be shifted, as Patrick puts it. It should be 2022. It shouldn't be people from the era the movie was made. It should be right now they're making the movie. So Patrick says, for recasting Titanic right now, Tom Holland's in Leo's role and Saoirse Ronan is in Kate's role.
Right.
I like the 2022 angle. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a keeper, right?
That'll be also tough for me because I have a bad tendency to just say Miles Teller for everything. Yeah. So I gotta get better.
You just gotta study more actors.
It's a good way for us to get Sydney Sweeney in a lot more movies.
Yeah, no question. Cousin categories of things that we kind of already have that usually end up in like what's aged the best or what's aged the worst. But Bryce Maloney from Toronto, what single moment most gives away the year this movie was made? Is it a catchphrase, a hairstyle, a costume choice, a song in the soundtrack or whatever? I feel like most of the time the answer would be the song in the soundtrack. So I'm like lukewarm on this.
It's a little on what's aged the worst corner too.
Yeah.
But there's also like a lot of usually technological advances are on front. You know,
I feel like really we can cover that in best or worst, but I like the spirit of it. Luke Holey wants the Tony Snell Award. points us to the time Tony Snell
Zero,
played
zero,
28
zero.
minutes and had all zeros. So it's like the actor who's in the movie the most but did the least. And he said it's basically the opposite of Dion Waiters. And his nominee for this is Tom Hardy in Mad Max Fury Road. He thinks he put up a Tony Snell. I like it.
That's controversial for him to say that.
I don't love that take, but I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's really solid. I don't think we do it every time, but I think maybe there's some times where that comes in.
For sure.
The
That's a good
Tony
one.
Snell. Then a few people wanted either who lost the movie or the LVP of the movie. I like the concept of who lost the movie. Alex from Cleveland says this could be someone who passed on a major role, someone who was fired, somebody who hurt their own trajectory of their career, or somebody who was just bad.
Or if you get blown off the screen by your co-star, you know.
What do you think, Sean?
I like it. I mean, it's better with context, because it's like if somebody took a part in a movie that didn't do anything for them and they could have been in another movie at the time. I always think of it that way. You know, it's like, was Kim Basinger in Batman, was that a win for her playing Vicky Vale? She wasn't in the second one.
Yeah. The reason I wasn't all the way in on it is I think people can have tiny losses, but not like who won the movie is so substantive.
Mm-hmm.
Who lost the movie? People like the Kim Basinger thing's a great example. It's like, it wasn't awesome for her, but it also wasn't bad that she was in a Batman movie.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
nobody-
Keanu and Dracula was a loss. Like he definitely lost the movie. Sofia Coppola and Godfather 3, that's a who lost the movie, but we're also covering that in, you know, what age the worst or stuff like that. So I don't know if this needs its own category, but I like the idea.
Yeah, it's like if you guys did Midnight Run again, like nobody lost Midnight Run, right? It's like
We lost because there wasn't a sequel, or they did
Right.
make the sequel, but none of the people were in it.
Right.
This one's going to get added. I can't believe we didn't think of this. How many have we done? Like 240 episodes? People had different, they either named it after Scorsese or they didn't, but it was over and over again, best needle drop. And Dave R. writes, you guys spent a little time on John Williams for E.T., but that guy deserved way more credit for the success of the film. I propose best needle drop. For instance, Layla would have absolutely won this for Goodfellas.
Would it though?
What do you think has it?
Well, Be My Baby.
What about Rags to Riches? I don't know.
What's that? Can't you hear me knocking?
Yeah. Can you hear me not? Rolling Stones.
I don't know. See, this would be a good category
This is
because
a-
we'd
this is
argue
a-
about it.
Yeah.
This is a really good one. I mean, we inevitably end up having a 5-minute conversation about the songs and movies anyway. So this is maybe a good way to focus it.
Oh, it's and then He Kissed Me, not Be My Baby. My bad.
We could sneak it in What's Age the Best. Maybe it's like at the tail end of What's Age the Best, we throw in the best needle drop. Would you just call it best needle drop or name it after Scorsese?
I feel like it'll come when we are doing a movie where it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like Coppola doesn't have needle drops really, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although there are some really good needle drops in Apocalypse Now. Well,
I think this was the most insane email we got. It's from Adam Klein in Denver. In previous pods, both Burgess Meredith, Leo DiCaprio, and Joakim Noah have been described as either coxmen or world-class stickmen. It got me thinking about art imitating life in the Titanic pod, where Rose, when she dies, has Jack waiting for her aboard the Titanic. He must be her one true love because he fucked her silly in the back of that 1912 Renault. So basically her entire life turned on that one magical dick, a dick of destiny. I was thinking about how there must be other examples where the sex must be so good that it drives a movie character to be with or stay with somebody that is otherwise completely horrible, like Ginger in Casino. A horrible relationship phrase, but he keeps it going, even though she brings nothing else to the table. So that's the new category used to describe what one character must have to keep a terrible or illogical couple together. And he has Forrest Gump.
Bill, you wrote this email. Admit it.
I did not write this email.
Dick
you
of
wrote this
Destiny.
email in 2006.
Billy Hoyle. Karen Kinsella was another one. He listed a whole bunch of people. And he said, ultimately, this will make us reevaluate the 2021 Nets and the dysfunctional relationship between Kyrie and KD. I really, just a lot of points for that email. He really
He revved it up.
Dick
sure.
of Destiny was hilarious.
That's strong.
I have this category as great job, great effort. This is smart. I don't think it works for the pod, but I liked it. the Dave Henderson Award for notable plot point everyone forgets about. Dave Henderson hits the homer top of the 10th, Game 6, 1986 World Series, and he's going to be a hero and bars are going to be named after him. Then we blow the World Series.
Sorry.
Jeff Gow, who came up with this idea, he said an example is E.T. Gertie is the one who offhandedly teaches our little alien friend the rather useful ability of how to talk, without which the E.T. phone home and all of that isn't happening. And then he says, Titanic, Rose and Jack are the reason the boat sinks because they're making out and the lookouts are watching them make out and they miss the iceberg and the boat crashes. I don't think this works for the pod, but I appreciated the ingenuity of this one.
It's a good reminder to point these things out when we're doing a movie.
Yeah, we could do this on What's Age the Best, something like that. A couple people suggested versions of this. The Barry Wiggum is the one I'll use. He wanted like a Who the Fuck Is That? Which is like a cousin of Star is Born, where it's like Gandolfini in True Romance.
Oh.
Or Samuel L. Jackson in Jungle Fever. Kate
so this
Hudson
is kind of like a
Famous.
cousin to Joey Pants. It's like, it's basically their high school or college highlight mixtape, you know?
In a movie.
Like, oh,
Brad,
we
Brad
knew it.
Pitt, Thelma and Louise.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could also cover this on What's Age the Best. But it's one of those like Gina Davis and Fletch. Who the fuck is that? I like that one. Cristiano in Brazil thinks that we should have a category, the precise best age to watch a movie.
Oh,
Great
interesting.
idea.
Yeah.
So like E.T., what is the best possible age to watch E.T.?
Yeah. It's like
7.
17 for Dazed and Confused, right?
Right.
Right. E.T. is what, 9, 10? Probably 10. You want to be the same age as Elliot?
Yeah. For Bill, what's Halloween? Like 6?
Oh, man.
When did you show it
Just
to
every
Ben?
year. I think Halloween and Heat is just there is no age. You're just ageless.
How old was Ben when you first showed him Halloween?
I mean, probably
Under 8?
Too young. I think he was 4.
Has Ben seen Heat?
4.
Yeah.
4?
Just covered his eyes a couple times. It was fine.
The second half of the movie?
He just got into high school. He's fine.
Sure. Has Ben seen Heat?
Too long for him.
Okay.
Too long for him. He did like Goodfellas a lot, though.
Oh, that's great.
The best age to watch this movie, I think that could be a good conditional one, though.
Enjoy that.
Producer Craig,
Yes.
what do you think of that one? The precise best age to watch a movie.
I love that one. I've been writing down my favorites as we go through this.
All
and
right.
that
Yeah. At
is-
the end, you have
that
to
made the list.
give us like your top 7. Okay. More possible winners. This one I really liked, except I don't know how we do it in an audio pod. It would almost be like we'd have to do this for YouTube. And a few people suggested it. And one person even took all these screenshots from the movies. And it came from our discussion on E.T. about that one shot of the bicycle with the moon behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was most rewatchable shot. And so
That's cool.
Jared B says, different from a scene, this focuses on a specific camera shot that's memorable, like the poolside steady cam shot in Boogie Nights, or the slow zoom in on De Niro in Goodfellas when he's contemplating Wacky Maury, which we broke down in the Goodfellas episode. Sean, you're the nerdiest guy of the three of us. What do you think of this? Most rewatchable shot? Would we name it after somebody? What would you do here?
Let's name it after me.
The Sean Fennessey most rewatchable shot?
No. I mean, Chris will go hog wild on this. He would love
Why
to
don't
do
we
this.
could call it the Great Job Gordon award?
Love it.
Great job, Gordon. That's great.
Yeah, for Gordon Willis.
I'm writing that one down. Great job, Gordon. Or Gordo. I think he's Gordo'd us now. I don't even think he's Gordon.
I'm sure he'd love
He's
that. Yeah.
Gordo Willis.
What a legacy for him.
I like that one. Look, not every movie's going to have it. Like I'm not sure if when we do, I don't know, some
And we
random
could honor Gordon Willis by doing this category every time right after Dick of Destiny. I think he would
Agree.
I was thinking Dick of Destiny could be its own podcast.
Yeah.
Craig H from LA, who's not Craig Horlbeck because it's a different H.
Sure he isn't.
What? It's a Craig H from
You guys
LA?
should feature Craig way more. He's great.
It was Craig. This guy's name was Craig Hirsch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Craig H from LA, formerly of the Bay Area by way of San Diego.
Wow. Nice.
He says we need a pet award, which I've renamed the Cliff Booth Need a Pet Award.
Mm.
And his question is, would the movie improve if a main character had a pet? For example, Eddie Adams leaves home and heads to Jack Horner's home with his belongings and faithful golden retriever named Bruce Lee. I don't know. Would you like Boogie Nights more if Eddie had brought a golden retriever with him?
I would if he had like a pet iguana. that he walked around on a leash. You know, if it was something really eccentric, like it's no fun if it's just like give this guy a dog. Every guy is better with a dog.
I mean, Cliff's dog in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was, I think, a crucial member of the show.
Yes.
Movie. Rob Cicero at Smithfield, he said, I'm listening to T2 right now, and you're talking about Sarah Connor as a bad hang. I think adding a category for good hang, bad hang, he called it best hang, worst hang, but we always called it good hang, bad hang, would be a solid addition. Mm-hmm. I'm not against this for occasional pods. I do think I like the concept when we argued about whether Sarah Connor was a rough hang.
Right.
I do think we should bring that back for some pods.
Do you guys think Mike McD was a good hang?
Yeah. Loyal friend. Ready to go to Atlantic City anytime.
Just feel like he would always be like, I got to go home. I got to get up and do my paper route.
What do you think, Sean?
Like Worm is a good hang. Gets you in trouble.
But that's not is that a good hang? I mean, this is where your wormness comes out, CR.
Yeah.
You know, you identifying
just put the
with
leather
him.
jacket on, CR.
You know, McDermott, he's trying to have a life for himself, you know? He's trying to put some money together. He's trying to get through law school. There's something decent about him. What's wrong with that?
Let's take a break and then we're going to come back and do best suck-ups to Chris and Craig. This episode is brought to you by Mint Mobile. One resolution you can easily start on right now. Save money. And all you have to do is switch to Mint Mobile. For a limited time, their wireless plans are $15 a month when you buy a 3-month plan. And it's not just the price that makes Mint Mobile so great. They got some other stuff. No jaw-dropping monthly bills. No unexpected coverages. Every one of their plans comes with unlimited talk and text, and you still get high-speed data from the nation's largest 5G network, also at a great price. Plus, you can keep your phone. You can keep your phone number. You can keep all your contacts. So why not ditch your overpriced plan? Get this new customer offer. Go to mintmobile.com/rewatchables. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. This episode is supported by State Farm. Think about your first reaction after you have an accident. What do? You scream, oh no, or man, oh, why did this happen? On the flip side, let's say you buy a new car or you lease a new car. Get in there and it smells great and you're like, man, this is awesome. But just remember, really the only words you need to remember are like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need, have coverage options to protect the things you value most, file a claim right on the State Farm mobile app, and even reach a real person when you need to talk to somebody. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coming back, somebody named Mr. K, who's definitely like a college room of Craig's, wants a category called Producer Craig Suggests. Producer Craig makes suggestions for possible substitutions of more current actors, directors, soundtrack, etc. for any older movie. We kind of had this with the recasting couch. But Producer Craig, you got fans out there like Mr. K.
There are dozens of them.
Chang Kim wants line of the movie that should be read by Chris as Al Pacino. And he gives us examples. E.T. was nothing like that, penis breath. And Jurassic Park, that is one big pile of shit. He just wants us to do one quote every time with CR as Pacino. I'm not against it. I bolded it. And then Josh P. said, would this movie be better with Wayne Jenkins?
That is playing to the base right there for me.
Here's the thing. Every movie would be better with Bernthal as Wayne Jenkins if you just threw him in the movie. Like him in Heat.
I got to be honest. When we were doing E.T. and CR dropped the Super Cop line on it, I hadn't seen that episode yet. And I was like, I have no idea what Chris is talking about right now. The 800,000 people that are watching We Own This City were like, yes. And everybody else was mystified.
That's it.
But then when you saw it, you were like, it all came together.
It all came together.
That's what we like to do. Roy B had a suck up to me. I'm a year younger than Bill, so I find it hilarious when the other younger staff give him a hard time about some of his opinions. And then he bullet pointed some of them. Frank Sinatra was a big deal. That was an opinion I had.
This is bullshit. No, this is bullshit. That one is crazy.
I know plenty of people who are older than you, Bill, and they never talk about Frank Sinatra's
I like that
coolness.
Getting credit for Frank Sinatra. I was excited. How the Gumars and Goodfellas had to be prettier. How I'm in love with every actress from the 80s and how Kay's character from the Godfather movies was terrible. And then he adds, By the way, he is not wrong. So thank you, Roy B.
So all of those opinions are generational rather than just like your bizarre taste.
I think I'm the president of Frank Sinatra Island. People don't talk about the guy enough.
Who did you say that email was from? Sil Bimmons? Who wrote that?
It's Roy B. Javier P says we should have the K. Corleone Award for the worst character in the movie. Spay Cariana says it should be called the Butch's Girlfriend Award. And then Robert Price says, how about the Maria de Medeiros Potbelly Award for most non-essential character, or just call it the Butch's Girlfriend? Basically, a prominent character is removed from the film would not be missed in the slightest. And then Mike says, hey, I love the pods. Opposite of most rewatchable scene, I vote naming it after Fabienne from Pulp Fiction. So those are 3 Pulp Fiction Butch's Girlfriend emails. So I know I have a group now of people who agree with me.
Yeah, you guys should start a Reddit board or something. That's cool. You and all the weird guys who hate Maria de Medeiros in Pulp Fiction.
I do think, and I think this is going to make the cut, I do think the Butch's Girlfriend Award for character that could disappear from the movie and the movie doesn't miss anything should be considered strongly.
Is now the time to explain why that character is important? We can save it for the inevitable Pulp Fiction pod in 2037.
Let's save it.
Okay.
Let's save Pulp Fiction. So a bunch of people wanted a category, and I think we have to do it just because there were a lot of them, about identifying a point in the movie when it's okay to either pee or go make popcorn or do something.
That's smart.
Check Twitter. Yeah.
And for some reason, this immediately brought me to Shooter when they had to put in the 6 minutes of Shooter and Kate Mara trying to get to know each other better and just like 6 minutes of bad dialogue. And it's like just a great time to go pee, maybe get some ice cream and just come back and you've missed absolutely nothing. Lindsay writes, for me, it's the scene in Grease when Sandy sings Hopelessly Devoted to You while hallucinating John Travolta's face in a kiddie pool. Love the song, hate the scene. So that would be her pee break.
I think that the ultimate thing, especially on a rewatch, is the Anchorman flute scene. It's like, I got it. I know what you guys are doing.
Good call,
this is a very long scene, so I'm sure I can go and get some hummus, come back.
Michael Scully suggested the ping pong scene in Forrest Gump as a good example of this. Oh, he's about to play ping pong. I'm going to go pee.
Yeah. Well, you got to make sure you're in your seat, though, for the premature ejaculation. You want to be there for that, right,
You
Bill?
have to be back in time.
I do also love the premise of this question. Like, people don't have pause buttons. And it's just like, well, this movie has started, so I guess I'll have to...
Well, I guess but if you're rewatching and it's on TNT or HBO and the flute scene's coming on Anchorman, you know instantly like, I'm going to go pee right now.
Right.
I need to see the flute scene again. So I like the concept of a pee break, I think is strong. Music categories. We mentioned the...
Can we get that sponsored by like Avion or something?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good soft drink sponsor. Write that down, Craig. Victor H wants, would this movie be improved by the addition of Gimme Shelter? You just throw it in. Would it be better?
What about the subtraction of Gimme Shelter from multiple Scorsese movies?
I really like this email from Travis McVeigh. He calls it the Vincent Chase Is This Actually Good Award. Here's what it means. When a character in a movie presents a piece of art in a movie, I always ask myself if it's actually good, parentheses, the thing from that song, that thing you do, or total crap. But the other characters are acting as if it's great in service of the story, like the futuristic DJ movie Vince makes in the Entourage movie, which wins an Oscar. Honestly, this would apply to anything Vincent Chase made in Entourage. But he says, example of good art portrayals of movies other than that thing you do. Rupert Pumpkin's stand-up was actually good in King of Comedy. Julie Delpy's song at the end of Before Sunset is actually good. And Neil crushing his play in Dead Poets Society. Those are his 3 examples. Neil! My son! I like the idea of art. So like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would be a good one, right? When whatever one of the Leo scenes, it was like, was that actually good? Or was that just good because it's good in the movie?
The 14 Fists of McCluskey? Yeah. Is that actually good? Yeah.
But there's also I think it's like the higher the degree of difficulty is when the person's art is being portrayed as like life-changing. So like James Earl Jones' writing in Field of Dreams, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's like, you were the voice of a generation. I can't remember if they actually do any readings from him. I think he quotes one line back to him.
Yeah.
But like, that's like when it gets really difficult. If you're like, this is the greatest novelist of all time. And it's like, oh, okay.
What about Winona Ryder's documentary and Reality Bites?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's a good one.
she didn't have
This is a
final
good
cut,
category.
though. Yeah.
I think this is good. Producer Craig, what do you think of this category? What do you think of naming a category after Vincent Chase?
I love it with every fiber of my being.
Were you a big Entourage guy, Craig?
I mean, it's the perfect, there's no more perfect show for a kid in college. So
Yeah.
I watched the whole show in college. But like the Forgetting Sarah Marshall vampire play.
Perfect.
That's another one.
Oh, that's a great one. My wife and I just watched that movie and we were both saying that play was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
What's that? What is it called? Is it like Dracula Alone? What's it called?
Dracula the musical.
Die!
I can't.
That movie's amazing. I told you guys I want to do Re-Forgetting Sarah Marshall. We should just do this with all the new categories. I love that movie. Abby wants a theme month called Apex Mountain April. It's in the same vein as Fucked Up Family February, but this category will spotlight films where the lead was at the peak of their star power industry ranking, swung for the fences, and failed. Like Kevin Costner in Waterworld, or John Travolta in Battlefield Earth, or Sandra Bullock in All About Steve. Apex Mountain April. I guess we can do it in
That's the
August.
Hudson Hawk pod, I guess, right?
Yeah, the problem is it wouldn't be fun to rewatch those movies.
I don't want to spend any time with All About Steve. That sounds like a bummer.
Great idea. I don't know if we can execute it. We will execute this, though. 2 awards. So people want more food in the Rewatchables, Sean.
Okay.
David Weissman suggests the Big Kahuna, this is a tasty burger award for best looking food in the film that you would want to try as you're watching it. That's a no-brainer. That's just being added to the podcast.
Might be my favorite line reading in the history of movies. So if we're into that, this is a tasty burger.
And then Josh P. suggests the Den of Thieves Benihana Award for the place location that steals the scene more than the actors did. Look, this is also just a lock to be in.
Wow.
This is like Henry Hill's bar where Tommy kills bats.
Yeah. Location, I think we've almost done like 250 episodes. We've been a little light on location, talking locations, how important they are. So I like this. And then Josh Reese had a similar thing to the Big Kahuna Award. He wanted to call it the Richard Kimball Egg Sandwich Award. But was talking about when they make spaghetti sauce in The Godfather, or they're preparing the food in Goodfellas, and it just kind of makes you hungry.
Yeah.
I think we should add both of these. I was thinking like right around, like maybe after What Stage the Best, there's a couple food spots to swing in.
That diner in Thief is like my ideal diner.
This is, I think, the single best idea anyone had. It's from John N. He said, I was listening to your Beverly Hills Cop 2 episode, and you're talking about racehorses. And I thought, why not have a best racehorse name from the movie category? From the movie Heat, you have Book About Medals, The Bank's Money, or Barbecues and Ball Games. And I'm only providing Heat examples. I think that's a good one. We have to figure out the best racehorse name from somebody who loves that movie.
But it wouldn't be surprising at all if a horse that won the Derby was called The Action is the Juice. Like that's in play.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm adding this. I love this. I can't wait to figure out a racehorse name for the next one we do. Sierra, I feel like you're not excited enough about this.
I'm trying to think of what I would want to name a horse from The Departed.
Oh my God. Probably the porn theater. Wait, did they show the name of the porn theater?
I don't know.
No, what's the Combat Zone?
Combat
Zone. That's good. That's good.
That's a great. The great category. This, I don't think makes it. It's from Alan Blair in St. Louis, but I really respected it. The Richard Kimball Inappropriate Body Award. He's watching The Fugitive. Richard Kimball dressing his own wounds in the hospital bathroom after escaping the jail bus. It's clear that he's the most ripped vascular surgeon in history.
It's fucking crazy.
What high-performing doctor has time to get in round Reynolds shape? Show me a nuclear physicist who's ever looked like Denise Richards' Christmas Jones in that shitty Bond movie. Maybe this makes a cameo every once in a while, this category, but the Richard Kimball point's great. Why is he so ripped? He's a fucking doctor. What did he have? Like the best Solaflex in Chicago? How did he look like that?
He's working with Alex Guerrero.
Jesus.
He didn't have Seal Award by being a doctor, though. You know, he did it by being jacked.
True. Maybe he just outworked everybody.
We're trending towards right here is doing a Refugitive.
I Count me
We
in.
did The Fugitive way early in the pod when we really didn't have any categories. You'll have to excuse my friend Richard Kimball. He's very sick. Nicolas K thinks we should have a finishing move wrestling category like the Stone Cold Stunner or the Rock Bottom or Sweet Chin Music. The one-line scene, shot, image, tagline, or moment that sold the movie. And his example was They're Here with Poltergeist.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite there, but I like the spirit behind it.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker was a good one, you know.
Sean, you like this. Well, there's a bunch of stuff about, was it the right title for the film?
Oh,
And if it wasn't, could we come up with a better title?
okay.
Nobody really had the right award for it. Leah Bras suggested, what's the title if it's a Tarantino film, which I kind of liked. But I think the question of right title, wrong title, like Shawshank Redemption, we talked about this, Chris, when we did that with my dad, and we decided that was a terrible title because it actually drove people away from the movie. Nobody knew what it was. But if it had been like Escape to Zihuatanejo,
That would
it
have
would have been
really
it would have
fit
given
on a
away the movie,
poster.
but
Yeah.
awesome. Escape to Mexico, whatever.
escaped to Mexico.
That might have given the movie away a little bit.
But E.T., if you called E.T. Phone Home, is that a better title or a worse title?
I think it would have been more confusing.
What if you had called
It's
it
called
Night Skies?
E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not a
the-
great title.
Isn't
I
it?
think it really does what it says it's supposed to do. Just like Star Wars.
I
You know?
agree. I think it
Star
worked.
Wars, great title.
I guess like we should think about what are episodes we've done in the past where the title, even though it's kind of burned into our brain, like doesn't totally make sense, or we feel like we could have done better. You know? Like,
Yeah, this is a conditional category. Like The Hangover is a great title. Forgetting Sarah
Great.
Marshall is a great title.
Right.
Yeah.
Most movies have the right title, but sometimes they miss with the title. So I just think we should keep that in our background.
Chris, you wanted to rename Amistad, right? What was your take on that?
Rob McDermott said if you had to, and then he put in caps, had to make a sequel or prequel, how would you make it good? And he said there are no wrong answers. A Heat sequel that saw Val Kilmer's character picking sides between Taiwanese crime families in a gangland war in Mexico would have sounded insane, but there goes Michael Mann. So prequel or sequel? I don't think it should be every pod, but I think something we should keep that in mind.
Yeah. For any movie that doesn't have a sequel, I think that's pretty fun. Ordinary People too.
Dragos wanted Nadir Valley, which would be the opposite of Apex Mountain. An actor filmed it during his low point, and his career was subsequently revived by this movie, like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. I don't think it totally works, but I like the concept of Nadir Mountain. But I think it would be Nadir Valley, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a
Valley.
mountain; it'd be a
For
valley.
sure.
I don't
Yes.
think it works.
Somebody sent another email about that called the Golden State Down 20 Award for and they said Travolta in Pulp Fiction, the comeback
Yeah,
award.
we
Right.
would just do that. And what stage the best for the Travolta?
But
thing.
isn't the Nadir Valley like Look Who's Talking To or whatever? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but we would never do that movie. So like Nadir Valley makes sense. It just we would never do a movie that had a Nadir Valley. I don't feel like.
I wonder if you could tweak it going back to the NBA, and it's almost like actor in a contract year. Like this is probably their last chance to be in a movie this good, and they pull it off. Like they
Jerome
really,
James.
Yeah, like
That's
a little,
so rude.
Sorry, shot. A couple people had this. Evan Fitzsimmons wanted an homage to one of my favorite Chris Ryan jokes. He has favorite Chris Ryan jokes, apparently. On the Field of Dreams pod, when he said, imagine if Ray Liotta, R.I.P., from the second half of Goodfellas was coming out of the cornfield. And so he says, new category, an actor who underperformed in the movie, even though they've been good in other movies, and they just bring the character from another movie in to make
Right.
their movie better. He said, I said in Mr. Mom how Terry Garr wasn't that good in Mr. Mom, but I would have loved it if it was Tootsie Terry Garr. And he wants to call this the Jimmy Buckets Award for Jimmy Butler's ability to underperform in Minnesota and then subsequently be better in Philly. Something there. It's really an excuse for CR to just do impressions of
to do Henry
characters that are
Hill.
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just keep flashing back on A Few Good Men every time I hear a new category, and I'm like, Demi Moore is absolutely terrible in A Few Good Men, but she's incredible in other movies. You know, it's like,
Right.
that's like, is that her Nadir Valley, even though she's in that great movie?
Yeah. Could she have done, if she had done like the About Last Night Demi Moore In A Few Good Men, is it a better movie?
Yeah.
I think that she might not have been like taken as seriously as a lawyer, but yeah.
What about the
Right, fair. She's
disclosure
wearing
Demi Moore?
overalls. Yeah, disclosure
Striptease Demi Moore. Yeah.
Indecent Proposal.
Todd Ressler wants the Henry Hill and E.T. award. I think inspired by Chris. What other movie would you like to see the main character from this movie in?
Oh yeah.
And he suggested like Indiana Jones and Proof of Life, Henry in Goodfellas and E.T. We just take characters we like and throw them in different
Daniel
movies.
Plainview and Moneyball.
I don't think this is in everything, but I think we should keep it in the back of our heads.
That's pretty funny.
And then same thing, Kyle Barlow had a Quentin Tarantino universe actor or character fringe relation award about how Tarantino likes to have people who are related to people. And he said for the E.T. episode, a potential winner could have been Drew Barrymore. What if her character in E.T. became Julia and the Wedding Singer? The case for that being she breaks up with her fiance to get with Adam Sandler because she's scarred from growing up as a child of divorce.
That's good.
Pretty good.
Not bad. I don't know if that's category worthy, but I think we could put that in a what stage the best. A lot of Tom Cruise. Can we make fun of Tom Cruise more stuff?
I don't. Tom Cruise is great.
Like make fun of what?
How when he tries to either be human or tries to play sports. There's a lot of like Tom Cruise throwing a baseball award, things like that.
Chris has the ultimate impression of him in Oblivion, pretending.
Oh yeah,
to be
when he's just like
game.
the big game was here, thousands of fans, and then touchdown.
I was watching War of the Worlds on an airplane, and the baseball scene is just so goddamn funny. I don't know why he's throwing the baseball like that. Do you think he threw it? He practiced and threw out his shoulder?
I don't know. Lest we forget the extraordinary gymnastics he did in the firm, though. You know, those back handsprings.
That was
I have to admit, if I've been quiet over these last 15 minutes, it's because I just keep thinking of Wayne Jenkins in different movies. I was just thinking of what if Wayne Jenkins was the Tom Cruise character in War of the Worlds.
Mitchell Adams wants a category called the multiverse. Which character from another movie would you most like to see multiversed into the movie you're watching? His example was putting Jesus Shuttlesworth in Hoosiers.
That's good.
I thought that was good. It doesn't work, but it was funny. And then Peter Lonsdale wanted the Martin Scorsese Award for best prelude to a blowjob scene. And then put in parentheses, Casino. You can pound that big field for 2 hours and still won't be tender. Watch the leather, honey.
That's Goodfellas, isn't it?
Or I guess Goodfellas. Yeah, he put Casino.
There really aren't that many blowjob scenes though in movies. So it's like we only really get like Scorsese movies.
This episode is brought to you by TurboTax. TurboTax experts make all your moves count, filing with 100% accuracy and getting your max refund guaranteed. So whether you're, I don't know, what are you doing, movie fans? Are you auctioning off opening night Q&A tickets? Are you selling movie memorabilia that you found, some old Blockbuster video stand posters? Did you start a movie podcast of your own? Whatever you're doing, switch to TurboTax and make your moves count. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live. This episode is brought to you by Royal Caribbean. It's so hard to choose what kind of vacation you want. Beach, island hopping, hiking, culture. What about choosing Royal Caribbean and going on all the vacations at once? You could test out your surfing skills. You can go on multiple onboard pools. I mean, think about it. If you go island hopping to a jaw-dropping range of Caribbean destinations, including the Bahamas, Bermuda, Jamaica, Mexico, many more, you can hike a Jamaican jungle. You can climb an Alaskan glacier. You can sail to Europe. You can snorkel along colorful reefs, jump off a waterfall, go jet skiing. You can do it all. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Visit royalcaribbean.com to learn more. Kevin Cruz had favorite little moment. Just like a quick moment in a movie, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the moment when Leo looks back at Cliff after Cliff says, "Remember, you're Rick fucking Dalton." So it's like a 3-second thing. I don't think it works, but I like the spirit of it. So people think, and Devin Kuchinka thinks that the overacting award should just be called the Mark Ruffalo, Saul Rubinek, Vincent Hanna, Linda Partridge Award, that everybody should be honored in the award.
Yeah.
Because we shouldn't have moved on.
We should overname the overacting award.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we've slighted Saul Rubinek by not invoking him recently. I don't know. What he does is different from, because those other actors are like great actors that everybody loves. I love when somebody comes in and you're like, this person's not famous, and they're just like, fuck it, I'm taking over.
Craig, maybe this is an opportunity for you to flex your audio montage skills and put together just like a 8-second clip of people screaming.
Oh wow!
Of those
before
people.
we do the
I want the
overacting work.
truth. It's
Don't
like,
call
I
me
want
lady!
the truth. You stab me in the heart. Don't call me lady. Like
and I'll put that in at the start of every time we do that category.
Yeah, and I think everybody just driving along with their kids in the car would appreciate like a quick 5-second burst of screaming coming.
I'll just jack up the volume on it.
They do.
It's not only the overacting, it's also over editing on my part. Yeah.
Josh Fryerman, he wants us to have an award called the LeBron James knew this movie would be a rewatchable when he first saw it in high school award, which we're not going to have, but I really appreciate the comedy of that. You know, when LeBron saw Heat, he knew he knew Heat was going to be a
He'd been
classic.
scouting Heat for years.
So here's one, Sean, that I liked. It's called Just One Oscar. It's from Alan B.
Mm.
The movie only gets one Oscar. Who gets it and why? So E.T., who gets the Oscar?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
good.
interesting.
Really
yeah.
good.
That's
Yeah.
like,
That's a winner.
every team has to have an all-star. You know,
Yeah.
like honestly, that should just be on every episode.
Yeah.
And
That's what I like. E.T., what would we give
John
it to
Williams.
John Williams?
John
right?
Williams, yeah.
Just one Oscar, John Williams. We can
But
do
it's
that one quick. That's like 20 seconds.
It's kind of funny to do it for like Wedding Crashers though, too. You know?
Yeah.
Right? That's true. We have to do it for every movie.
It has to go to Bradley Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason P. says, I will never forget the dismay I felt upon learning Rick Springfield dated a 15-year-old Linda Blair after The Exorcist. In the spirit of that all-time bad beat, I proposed the Rick Springfield Award for the most egregious retrospective bad beat, like Michael Corleone marrying a 16-year-old Apollonia, or from The Exorcist, Jason Miller turning down Taxi Driver to make the nickel ride. But can we have a bad beat category? We can. I don't know if we should name it after Rick Springfield dating a 15-year-old, but
Right.
I feel like that's in What Stage is the Worst were covered. I brought that up because I didn't know Rick Springfield dated a 15-year-old Linda Blair. What the fuck?
Not ideal.
Jesus, Rick Springfield.
Not ideal.
Apex Mountain. A lot of people are confused what Apex Mountain is. Seems to be a relative consensus. Just be like,
were you unaware of that? Did you think we were just nailing it every time?
It's just when you see it really, unfolding in real time over emails. People just were like, why can't this just be the peak of their career?
The funniest thing ever is if there is a special guest on the show, like a Bill Hader and Aaron Sorkin,
Yeah.
you have to explain it. Just watching you explain it is extraordinary.
So I kind of don't want to lose that. I feel like that's part of the podcast.
I agree.
It's
That's
a
right.
category that never made sense. But Steve Groothus, he says, baseball players choose the hat team to represent them on their Hall of Fame plaque.
Oh, yeah.
Would this be the movie the actor, writer, director would wear as their
Wow,
Hall of
that's a
Fame
good
hat?
one.
Yeah.
Tremendous question.
There's also
Yeah.
you could also throw this is like first paragraph of the obituary, known for
Yeah.
movies such as, and is like, is this in the first sentence there?
What order
So-
does it come in?
Yeah.
So he asks, E.T., is that Spielberg's Hall of Fame hat? Die Hard, Bruce Willis? Top Gun, Tom Cruise? This is good. This should be a category.
Hall of Fame. I mean, are you going to
Hall of
retire
Fame hat's
Apex
good.
Mountain, or are you going to is Hall of Fame hat different than Apex Mountain for you?
No, because I like having them both because it's more confusing. I think Hall of Fame hat can come right after Apex Mountain.
That's good stuff.
Apex Mountain's about the juice you have in your career. Hall of Fame hat is just so easy to understand.
It's legacy. It's like in retrospect, it turns out you'll always be known for this.
What's PTA's Hall of Fame hat?
Right now, I think it's There Will Be Blood,
I think it is too.
but I don't know if that's
for
what
me,
it'll
it's
be.
Boogie Nights.
He's got one coming that's going to win him like 6 Oscars, though. That's probably going to be the one in like 10 years. Because they're going to be like, shit, why didn't we give this guy any Oscars?
Is that Venom 3?
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Jay Torres thinks we should name the Apex Mountain category after somebody because all the categories are named after people for the most part. And he suggests the Catherine Trammell Apex Mountain category. I'm not against it. Catherine Trammell Apex Mountain. It's just a picture of Sharon Stone's face. It's like 500 yards. All right, last one. It's Craig, it's another Vincent Chase award. This comes from.
We're doing 2 awards named after Vincent Chase.
These are suggestions. Kyle Barlow. He says in season 3A, episode 4, Guys and Dolls of Entourage, there's a scene in Ari's office with Vince and the boys right off the heels of success of Aquaman. Ari presents multiple scripts. Fox wants you to do this movie, $7 million, throws the script in the trash. Miramax, $8 million, throws it in the trash. Brings out the Medellin script, which is what
Medellin,
which is what Vince always wanted. They thought the script was dead. Aquaman was Vince's apex mountain because he could do any script. Medellin almost cost him his career. Therefore, I think the award name on the Rewatchables should be changed to the Vinny Chase Aquaman Apex Mountain Award.
That's tough.
We're definitely not doing that.
Yeah.
But it was the first thing I've ever seen that accurately explained Apex Mountain.
Right. It's like, are you at the point where you can just throw scripts in the trash?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. We've explained Aquaman and Apex Mountain. There you go. That's all we have for categories.
Way too much entourage in this conversation.
I think both questions came from Kyle Barlow. I think he was both.
Kyle
entourage.
Barlow was one of the yeah, he really loved that episode. So here's what I'm thinking for new categories for the next time we do it. So these are possibles. Best year specific signal. If we do that, call that the Warren G Regulator Award for best year specific signal. I still don't know if we need that. The Slow Ride Award for best needle drop. Because Slow Ride, I mean, come on.
That's a good.
That's confused.
I like that. Yeah.
Do you want to do year specific signal or no? Can we
like
just cover that when it's best?
Yeah.
I think your specific signal is kind of like a mouthful, but like maybe if you call it like what time is it award?
These should all be no-brainers or they're not going in. The
Okay.
Big Kahuna Burger Award for best food drink,
That's
definitely.
in.
Den of Thieves Benihana Award for scene stealing location, that's definitely in.
Yep.
Should we have a hottest take award? Should it be conditional or should we just shoehorn it into what's age the best?
I think it's better when they come up organically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have like almost like a button you can hit to give that award to like a random opinion. I'm sure Sean and I would appreciate that for some of your takes.
Okay.
It's a no-brainer too for like classic movies where we've like accepted the conventional wisdom of something and being like, I'm going the other way. It's kind of the ZAG award is really what it is.
Pee break?
Love pee break.
It's good.
What should we name pee break after? Or just call it pee break?
What was the example that you used?
I mean, I don't think shooter should get
That kind of recognition?
wouldn't get, but maybe, I don't know, something from Boogie Nights? Maybe Dirk at the Church award for best pee break.
Yeah, there's not a lot of breaks in Boogie Nights for me. I don't know. I thought the flute example was really good, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's it.
In Anchorman.
Anchorman flute scene.
Flute pee break award. That's
Brought
great.
to you by Coors Light.
Yeah.
The Butch's Girlfriend award for weak link of the film, scene, character, plot, whatever. Or would you cut 5 minutes? Some sort of cut, what would you cut? But I think that overlaps with pee break. So I don't think we need it.
Well, there's inessential, and then so I guess if you're going to do this Butch's Girlfriend thing, which I'm kind of appalled by, I do think that it should be like the character you could lose with no material impact on the movie.
All right. So then after casting what ifs, if it's the overacting award, I like having the CP3 award for worst meltdown, even though we'll never use it. I'm just going to have that in the categories in case there's a movie that comes up where we could do it.
Yeah, where it's just like, wow, look at this person. They just their hamstring must have gone.
The Butch's Girlfriend we can keep and use every once in a while. The Tony Snell award is probably better than Butch's Girlfriend. I like giving Tony Snell an award too.
I like that one a lot.
Which one do you like, Chris?
I just, the only reason I hesitate with Tony Snell is that I think
It's too obscure.
The award that I have to explain as much as Apex Mountain is Dion Waiters.
Yeah, you're right.
Tony Snell's now we're bringing in.
obscure.
I would argue that Tony Snell is less famous than Dion is.
Good point. The James Harden Award for actor least interested in being there. I think
all
it's
basketball.
well. I think it's better to call it the Jalen Rose Keep Getting Them Checks Award because people know what that means. Keep getting them checks. That's like Sam Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. That's a Jalen Rose Award winner right there. Sam's in for like 20 minutes. Good hang, bad hang. These are all going to be like conditional every once in a while. The Judith Myers Award for character definitely killed first if it were a horror movie. The people mostly think that the Joey Pants Award is too confusing. So
I think that guy is a great category, though.
Yeah, I think we're going to change it back to best that guy, and really save it for when it's a true that guy, or not do it. And then the Teddy KGB Award for the actor doing his own thing or her own thing can replace Judd Nelson. We're going to retire Judd. So long, Judd. Best racehorse name is in. Recasting Couch 2022 is in. Apex Mountain adding the Hall of Fame plaque thing. For me, the action is the Juice Award for best quote. And then a lot of people were like, the Netflix thing, that's the worst category. Everybody, it's just every time you decide it would be better off as a movie. So I tweaked it. I checked this with CR. This could be after picking nits. Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all black cast, or untouchable. You have to pick one of the 5. You like that, CR?
Yeah. Yeah, you goosed that one a little bit. I like it.
Thank you. Because Van's whole thing about make this movie with an all black cast is a great one.
Yeah.
So I don't think we should lose that at all.
I love that category though, because most
who
of
better
the time
to decide than the 3 of us,
That's right.
Yeah, why not?
But like most of the time we say no, it's perfect as is. But when we don't, that leads to some of the best conversations. So I wouldn't want to nix that.
Every once in a while, also when we're talking about like, I don't think they should make this as a Netflix series, but if they did, it should be this. I think that's when we started talking about like, why aren't we making a Jaws? Like, the Jaws spinoffs. That
Amity Island, right? Isn't that right?
Sequel, prequel, prestige TV, all black cast, or untouchable.
Okay.
I think we're going to bring back Would This Movie Be Better With? Because the Wayne Jenkins thing inspired me.
With Wayne Jenkins.
Would this movie be better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Catherine Hahn, Steve Buscemi, Sam Jackson, or Philip Baker Hall? We just have to pick one of the 6 quickly.
I always want JT Walsh on a list like this too.
All right, I'll add him.
I just want JT Walsh yelling at characters.
Maybe we just call this Would This Movie Be Better With ...
And you pick.
And people can put in whatever.
It's just going to be Wayne Jenkins for everyone.
Is this pod?
Excuse me, sir. Are you trying to take over the Nakatomi Plaza on my watch?
God damn, and a motherfucking brick.
Are all episodes of the pod going to be 6 hours now?
No, I think we can bang this out in like an hour 40. 1 Oscar minimum. Did I call that just 1 Oscar?
Yeah, that's a great one.
That's better. Just 1 Oscar.
Some of these it can be answered in like a minute.
That's what I was thinking.
Like the Hall of Fame plaque. Yeah. Like that's just a great new category.
I lost the email where the person suggested this, but best double feature choice for this movie. So you're watching this movie. What would be the second movie if you just wanted to make a good 4 hours? Like what would you pair with Heat? It's almost like Where the Soleil is. What'd you pair with Heat, Chris? Would you go lighter? Maybe a little like You've Got Mail to kind of wind down from all the action?
Like, so you just basically like, what's the best, like sort of for Heat?
I feel like we'd stammer too much during this. I like this category more on paper than I do if we were actually doing a podcast.
This is literally how I think about like every night of my life. So,
maybe we just turn it over to Sean. All right, I'll make this conditional.
Great job, Gordon, and the double feature award are both Sean Fennessey awards.
Well, wouldn't you just do Thief and Heat, and then just look at how they mirror each other and how they're
But
different?
He's got a good point. It's like sometimes you want to decompress from it,
Oh, I forgot to add the best shot award. The Gordo. Great shot Gordo award.
I feel like half of these, Bill, like will not apply in certain episodes. Like it's gonna actually be up to you to be like, I feel like we should answer this.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to do a tiny bit more work, but it's fine. The Andy and Red Zuwantne Award for what's next for what's
next day.
The next day. For the next day.
Yeah.
I think we have to add that.
Like, does Dr. Richard Kimball open his own practice?
He's probably on talk shows the next day, right? What piece of memorabilia do you want from this movie? The Coach Finstock Award for Best Life Lesson, I think I'm going to add. And I don't think Who Lost the Movie makes sense. So that's it. Producer Craig, what were your favorites?
You hit most of them. Did you want to add? This is another conditional one, but was that actually good? Like the vampire musical? That
oh yeah, I did like that one. So what? So what was the vampire music called?
I think it's called Dracula the Musical.
The Dracula the Musical award? That's good. I think that's a good idea. That will come up. It's not going to come up every episode. It won't come up every episode, but it will come up some. What else do you have, Craig?
Based on what you've read, I think that's probably it. I think so. We've added a lot. We've added like 10, 12 categories.
But I think all of them can be quick hitters except for like stuff like just won Oscar. I feel like we could do in 30 seconds.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame plaque one's really good.
The thing I can't wait for, Bill, though, is when like one of us is about to share like a really warm personal anecdote about a movie and you're like, great, okay, so let's get into the first of 102 categories. I saw this with my dad, and
when we get to the acting categories, I think I'm just gonna pick like 3 of them. Like between overacting, worst meltdown, Butch's girlfriend, keep getting them checks, good hang, bad hang. Like I just think you grab 3 of those.
I'm already so confused. I'm gonna be asking you every episode, like, wait, what award is that?
It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
We'll get through this. Oh, and then best racehorse name we're adding.
What about the one about like the scene you want to be close to? I really liked that one too.
What was it?
The scene you would like to be close to while it's happening.
The close proximity award.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what would you like to witness?
We call that the witness award.
You know, like I would like to be in the crowd of people watching Joe Latrulio get his ass kicked in Superbad. You know, like there's a lot of
All
those.
Valley. Yeah, that's good. I'll add that. Okay, that's it. Thanks to the listeners. Don't send us any more suggestions because we're at capacity. We have too many.
Truly.
But I do think like
Close the email address.
Yeah, we should. Craig, just take it down. I do think this will make the pod better, though. Any last words?
No, but we're coming back this week, aren't we?
Yeah, we're coming back. We're gonna do a movie this week, and we're gonna try to shoehorn in a bunch of these categories. Should we just say what the movie is?
Yeah.
We're doing Copland because our guy Ray Liotta died. Huge part of Goodfellas, which I think was the most listened to Rewatchables podcast we've ever done.
I believe so.
That and Proof of Life, yeah.
Proof of Life, Country
But
Strong.
only Helen Mirren's plays. They count for 100,000 each.
Anyway, we're doing Copland. We've been meaning, Chris can attest, we've texted about it a bunch of times. Should this be Copland? But we've always kind of had it on the back burner. But
Copland is coming off a very strong 2022 cable run. It is an incredible 4 p.m. movie before basketball starts, and I cannot wait to do this one.
All right. Chris, Sean, great to see you. It's produced by producer Craig Horlbeck, as always, and we'll see you in a couple days with Copland. Thanks for listening.